Hello friends, and welcome to the Gamer Down. This is your host, Dark Hostess, with Rift Weekly Review for October 20th. And I want to first show you one of the most awesome things ever. In your keybinds, there is a new command. It is to hide other players. So, check this out. If you hold the key down after you bind it, everybody disappears. And that means nobody blocking your quest giver anymore. Nobody blocking the mailbox anymore. Check that out. See? Boom, boom. You just press the little key and hold it down, and everybody disappears around you. Unfortunately, the pets don't disappear. I don't know why they didn't add that as well. But you see what an amazing feature this is. I mean, this really blows me away. This is this is a solution that MMOs have been looking for forever, really, and Trion came up with the idea. An idea of their own. It shows that they can have ideas of their own, and they can come up with some really ingenious and great ideas. I mean, this is just so awesome. You just press one key, and everybody disappears. And it doesn't seem to really help with my performance any, really. My frame rate pretty much stayed the same when everybody was still gone, so I don't think it's going to help much with, like, rifting, you know. That's a huge problem with rifts, you know. You go to a rift, and there's so many people around, the monster's usually dead by the time it loads. So, yeah, that's quite a problem. Well, where to begin, outside of the cool little new feature there? So much has been going on with Trion lately. The new world event has began, and they also have released a brand new collector's edition for Canada for some reason. You know, I guess every country is going to have their own collector's edition eventually, but you see the spider there, and you can upgrade your account for $10. And it looks like the cash store is here. You know, what's the difference between paying $10 to Trion for a mount and a banker, and paying $25 to WoW for a Celestial Steed or whatever? It's the Celestial Steed all over again. And now that the spider mount has been for sale for about I don't know, about a week now or so, they're everywhere. You know, there's no rarity to them at all. You know, people were hoping that, you know, it would be some really rare mount that you would be able to obtain, like, you know, through some achievement, you know, doing something actually, instead of dropping real world money down. But Trion, they needed the cash. You know, what can I say? You know, they've done everything possible to pad their subs right now. They did free to play week for all old subscribers. All old subscribers got a free week, you know, come check the game out again. And that's a bad sign, you know, it really is. That's a really bad sign. And then they start selling mounts, you know, and what really ticks me off about that mount thing is, you know, not that they are opening a cash store, is that the fact that they're disguising it as a collector's edition for another country. I mean, they're doing something just, you know, it just seems underhanded, you know. I mean, they're saying, oh, we're doing this special collector's edition to Canada, but we're going to do you a favor and sell it to you as well for $10, you know. Yeah, thank you for selling me something. You know, I pay you $15 a month, and see, you know, in the old days, $15 a month used to cover everything. That was your sub fee. That covered all the costs, you know. And now it seems like every MMO wants to add and add and add a little extra. They get so greedy, and it leaves such a bad taste in my mouth, you know. What Blizzard has become. You know, I quit WoW quite a ways back, and that's one reason I play Rift, is because the greed at Blizzard is just, you can just taste it in the air. And I just hoping Trion doesn't come that way, but you know, it doesn't matter to me really, because I'm going to be playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, so anything that happens, it happens. If I am playing Rift on the side, then I'm playing Rift on the side, because Rift is a good game. You know, it is a cool game, and it has a lot of cool, neat little things to it, you know. They're just now opening Ember Isles with this next patch coming up called, you know, patch 1.6. And this place is really awesome. Here we are right here in Ember Isles. And the place has these little travel stones, as you see, all over the place. And it's basically a free port because the Ember Isles are huge, man. It's like 2 regular zones put together. I was really impressed by the size. So they give you a free port where you can get around the island during invasions. So, they are thinking about the problems of, like, invasions and, like, how people are going to get to where the invasion and the action is happening and all that. So, they are working on those things and streamlining, their game. But, charging extra, and then disguising it as a collector's edition and doing things like that really bug me. Hey, what can you do? Now, we're going to be checking out the Ember Isles a little bit here, kind of cruising around, and it is amazing. It is really amazing. I even told Elrar when I saw him on the 19th here, I said, this is your best work. This is, you guys have done, just an astounding job with this Ember Isles. I guess they really have put it into overdrive with Star Wars The Old Republic coming up. This is their answer to Star Wars The Old Republic, and really, there's nothing Trion is going to be able to do to combat Star Wars The Old Republic. People like me, I've waited for Star Wars The Old Republic since way before I even heard about Rift or Trion or anything like that, we've all been waiting, and it's just like we've had to take our minds off of it with other MMOs and things, and that is what Rift has been to a lot of us out here, is a stepping stone and somewhere to go besides WoW while we wait for Star Wars and Diablo 3 and all those other things. But you see just what an amazing job they Trion can do, really. You see the modeling. They've introduced a bunch of new models in the Ember Isles. They've went all out for this zone here. They've made it a lot of fun, though. They've solved a lot of the problems that are in other zones, like in Stillmore and Shimmer Sand. Like when an invasion happens, it's very difficult to get from one side of the map all the way to the other side of the map before the monster's dead, or the rift's closed, or it's just sometimes becomes just an endless chase that you never win, and you're always like one step behind, and you just show up at the rift when it's closing, and you'll miss out on everything, really. But with this new system they have on the Ember Isles, you can actually go zipping all over the place with these little travel stones, and they're free too, so that is a plus, because the particulums, they're way overpriced as it is. You'd go broke your first invasion. They did do a little testing on the 19th over here on the test server here, and the devs were out and had a little party going on. They were testing out the invasions, and we had a pretty good time. I didn't stay for the whole event, and I know I promised you guys I was going to show you the quests for the Ember Isles, and honestly, I haven't had the time. There's a ton of quests here, and there's so much to show. Just trying to fit it into a one video or anything, that's not going to happen. It's going to have to be a lot of videos to kind of touch on all the different things happening. There's a new instance on the Ember Isles. There's new mobs, there's new quests, there's new everything, new environments. There's just so much to see. I'm really impressed by the size of this place. It really is almost like a mini expansion. And you can see here I'm getting some horrible FPS, though. So they have not smoothed out all of the FPS. That is also a problem I've had recently since patch 1.5. My FPS has been cut basically in half. So I'm not sure exactly what they did, but it's been pretty bad. It might be the little mini population explosion that the servers are having right now. I'm on Wolfsbane, which has always been crowded, and they opened up the free-to-play week for all the old subscribers, and then they had a $5 sale on Steam just a couple of weeks ago, and it's padded the subs to an enormous number. It's almost back to like what it was when the game launched again, it seems like. There's people everywhere. But, it's kind of already dying out a little bit, and you can imagine it's going to die out even more. It really is. It's just the way these MMOs roll. They always will pull out all the stops to try and retain subscribers. But there's just, there's always something, that people get really hung up on. And right now the PvPers are completely upset about rogues, being overpowered as hell. Now every war front, everybody's a rogue now, and they nerfed warriors, which is my main class, which sucked. Of course, that sucked. I mean, nobody likes to get nerfed, and things like that. People have got real hung up on, and there's post after post on the forum. I'm quitting because of the PvP imbalance. I'm quitting because I'm bored. I'm quitting because there's not enough to do, and there's not enough dungeons. That's the main chant. But recently, with the world event going on, people have had a lot of things to do. Even myself. I have been enjoying my Rift experience lately. I've been playing quite a bit more Rift lately. It seems the more I bitch about it, the more I play. I don't know what's going on. But I have been having a good time in Rift again. They've been doing a good job lately, but like I said, some of the things they do, such as touching on a cash store already, just 6-7 months into the game, they're already touching on free to play, so you can just see it's coming. It's gonna be coming, and I don't know of any way it's going to be stopped. Now, they did have a testing event just on the 19th here. If you've ever wondered what Elrar looks like, there he is. He's a giant sheep. That's what he is. Yeah, not really. He's a giant Mythosian. That's what he said he was. But, yeah, they are doing some testing over on the public test shard. And if you've never participated in any of these tests, you should. You should go on the public test shard and check it out. And, it's always cool. It's always cool to get to hang out with the developers, and you can talk to Elrar, right here, and tell them your complaints or your likes. And I don't think he'd probably want to get too serious, but the developers are available, and they do peruse the forums, and they do supposedly listen. But so if you're listening, developers, about your collector's edition, so many people can just see right through that. They see that it is a cash store. It is a cash store disguised as a collector's edition. And if you're going to go that route, please go that route. Just open your cash store if that's what you have to do to pay the bills. Now, of course, once a subscription-based MMO opens a cash store, that's always a huge controversy. When WoW first released their Celestial Steed, it caused a huge stink, and they made millions that day. Unfortunately, though, Trion doesn't have those kind of numbers. And there's people like me who sort of resent this whole cash store thing. We pay our $15 a month, and that should cover all the bills, and there should not be things outside of the game that you have to pay extra cash for that you can't obtain in the game. Now, maybe, one day they'll, probably have a spider mount dropping somewhere. That always seems to be the case. With their past events, they've always recycled the mount in some manner, reskinned it, whatever. The Dantics dropping in Hammernail now. That's a good example, but this is a little bit different, having to pay extra money, for the banker and the mount, and it's tempting, it's just I know I'm not going to do it, and it's just out of principle. I waste $10 in just one day, just with bullshit, but it's just it just gets to me really to pay an extra $10 for for something that should be available in game. It's a cash store, and once the lid is off that Pandora's box, you can't put it back on. What are we going to have next month? The collector's edition for Micronesia. You know, what are we gonna have the month after that? The collector's edition for Asia. You know, when's it gonna end? And how much extra cash are they gonna try to milk out of us all? You know, that is the big question. You know, if they open the cash store, at least you know where you stand. Once they start, you know, repackaging it as a collector's edition and just kind of like, oh, it's an extra thing you can get, you know. Well, you know, it's all the same. You know, it's all the same. It's a cash store. Yeah, you know, there's no way around it. Anyway, during this little event they had on the public test shard, I got kind of sidetracked with the beauty of Ember Isles. I started looking around, and I just, you know, I was amazed at the size of this place. There's about like 10 new mob models in the Ember Isles, so there are new things to look at. And you know, it was some of those old feelings of exploring again. You know, it's kind of disappointment when you're leveling in Rift, because you go from one zone and you go to the next zone, and the models are from the zone you had before the last one. You know, there's a real lack of models, and they're finally introducing new models to the game. I mean, these are some of the first models since the game's release that are in, you know, for monsters and mobs and things. There's really hasn't been any new models that I can even think of, really. The only two models that are in since the game has released are the two mount models and the Merdantix model there. So, you know, outside of like the rating, you know, and the Hammernail, you know, that is the newest models. And these are the only models. In addition to the new models, they also are setting up some of the invasions a bit differently. As you see here, this is what the invasions are like on the Ember Isles, and you'll see that you like charge some of the devices with some of the drops. And I was getting a lot of inscribed source stones, so it seems like you get a lot more source stones doing invasions over here on the Ember Isles. So I got like 16 just for like killing these little group of mobs right here, you know, which is quite a lot. You know, I've done like whole invasions in Stillmore and ended up like 6 or, you know, something like that. But this is how it works. It's like you can go by these like healing stones and get healed, and then also like the cannons will also aid you, and you know, once you've charged them up and things like that. And this is like how the invasion works. You know, if you follow the invasion around the island, it almost takes you on a tour. But it's a really long event, I must admit. It was probably like over an hour at least. I had to leave like 30 or 45 minutes into it, and it wasn't even really half done at that point, you know. But, you know, they are fun, you know, especially when you have a lot of people around to do them with you. And I wanted to show you some of the drops. They have a little bit of uniqueness to them as well. Some of the mobs on the Ember Isles, they drop planar charges, so you're able to get charged up and use your planar abilities, you know, a little more often. A lot of times I'll use mine during a rifting event, and then I'll be like, oh damn, I blew all my planar charges, you know, when I needed it the most. So at least this way, like a lot of the mobs on the island, you know, they are dropping planar charges, and they are a little bit tougher. I had forgot to buff myself up at this point. That's why it was you know, a little more difficult than it should have been, as you see. But you know, I'm really impressed with this Ember Isles. You know, I've said it, you know, repeatedly through this video, and you know, just look at the beauty of this place. You know, they have really taken what they've learned and put it all together and made a, you know, damn good extra zone here. You know, they did a really good job. And I touched on the instance that they are adding to this place. This is actually pretty close to it right here. And so they're finally going to add another instance, which has been needed so desperately. I mean, people have redone the same instances so many times that is a huge sticking point with almost everybody, you know. Doing one instance over 100 times, you know, just to obtain a piece of gear or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's going to kill anybody, you know. It's going to kill anybody's enthusiasm for a game. You know, they're going to be bored. Here you can see the entrance to this new little instance they got going on. and it's pretty cool looking. You know, they've put a lot of extra effort into this, and they've added some new textures, and I'm hoping that they've added some new models. I wasn't able to go in; it isn't open yet. But you can see from the outside here that the really cool mosaic tile, and you know it looks really good. You know, it looks really awesome. You know, they're using a really nice color palette, and everything on this island is really eye appealing. You know, they have a really good artist and a really good modeler working on this. They must have hired somebody new, because it seems a step above what they had been doing. You know, with the original Rift. You know, it's definitely a step above. You know, they. I think are finally getting it that we need a little eye candy in Rift, and it has to be more than this drab bull crap that is always being pumped out. You know, and the armor is looking a little more stylish, and the mobs are more, you know, eye-catching as well. And you know, you can see it. You know, you look at the Ember Isles and then go back to like Stillmore and see what a huge drastic contrast. You know, Stillmore is just so drab. I mean, I know it's supposed to set the mood for that place, but wow, you know, that place is just all one color and it's just very drab. You know, and not to mention all the mobs are just a recycling of older zones. You know, but here, you know, look at just these giant temples and these eye-catching places everywhere. You know, everywhere I looked, I was really blown away by what they've done. So, you know, I guess this is where our $10 is gone. You know, well, not my $10, because I'm not going to buy that spider mount, but this is where a lot of people's $10 has gone into the obvious development of the Ember Isles and what they've been working on. And they've obviously hired some more people, and you know, I keep repeating myself. You know, I'm just really blown away by this place. You know, if all of Rift looked like this, it would be a masterpiece, really. And this is a masterpiece. The Ember Isles is really shaping up to be their best work ever. It really is. I mean, they have introduced you know, new models, and they've introduced new ways to do invasions. You know, it's like they're learning. You know, Trion is learning, and they do. You know, they're not scared to try different things. You know, I mean, with every compliment, I seem to give them a backhanded blow. You know, but that's just how they roll. You know, they'll do something really badass, really innovative, and then they'll slap us all in the face with a extra charge. Ah, well, what can you do? I'm going to have some of the questing for Ember Isles. I'm going to do some of that and show you guys so you can check out what's coming up, because they are really badass. They are really cool. And we're going to look around this place some more. And we're going to look at some of the world event that's going on as well. They're up to phase 2 at this point. And I'm going to leave you with one of the new models here. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Yeah. This has been Dark Hostess for the Gamer Down and Rift Weekly Review for October 20th. I'll see you next time.